Development Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello students, welcome for today's English class. I'm sure you must be bored sitting at home during this pandemic time because it has restricted our movement. You must be missing your family tours, exploring the new places. You must be also missing your outings with your friends. So today I have decided to take you on a journey. Isn't that interesting? So today we are going to go on a journey to a very fascinating place, journey to the end of the earth. So grab your Vistas textbook and sit for this insightful journey. We are going to go with the author Tishani Doshi. Journey to the End of the Earth by Tishani Doshi. If we want to know more about the planet's past, present and future, the Antarctica is the place to go. So happy journey everyone. Here I am going to show you a small video which will give you a gist of what Antarctica exactly looks like. This is a video showing a voyage across the Southern Ocean taken in 360-degree angles by Rakesh Rao. So moving forward in the lesson, we'll have a look at the profile of Tishani Doshi, the author about this travelogue. Tishani Doshi is an Indian poet, journalist and dancer based in Chennai. She has published 6 books of poetry and fiction. Her essays, poems and short stories have been widely anthologized. She is the recipient of an Eric Gregory Award for Poetry, winner of All India Poetry Competition, and her first book, Countries of the Body, won the prestigious Forward Prize for the best first collection in the year 2006. In the same year, 2006, she was a part of Academic Shokalsky, a Russian research vessel, Students on Ice program, expedition to Antarctica in the year 2006. She is currently a visiting professor of practice, literature and creative writing at New York University in Abu Dhabi. So as I told you, Tishani Doshi was a part of the Students on Ice program in the year 2006, and she had traveled to Antarctica, and after traveling to Antarctica, after she went and came back, she has written this travelogue on Antarctica so that every one of us gets to know what exactly is Antarctica, why it is important to go to Antarctica. Now, what is this Students on Ice program? Students on Ice, an award-winning organization established in the year 2000 by Geoff Green from Canada, offers unique educational expedition to the Antarctic and Arctic. The aim of the organization is to educate the world's youth about the importance of polar regions to support their continued growth and to inspire initiatives that contribute to global sustainability. Here is the founder and executive director of Students on Ice Expedition and president of Students on Ice Foundation, Mr. Geoff Green. Now, he offers these unique educational opportunities to students between the age group of 14 to 24 because he feels that students have the enthusiasm, idealism to save the world. Now, when the students go there, now when I say students, students from all over the world, okay? Students, when they go there, they visit these research stations. Now, many countries have their own research stations at Antarctica. And here, I got pictures for you of the Indian science research stations at Antarctica. The first one is the Dakshin Gangotri, Bharati station, also an Indian station, and the Maitri station. So when students be a part of this Students on Ice program and they visit Antarctica, they visit these scientific research stations, they interact with the scientists, they also learn about the flora and fauna of the place and different such things when they visit Antarctica. This was the research vessel which was used during this expedition in 2006 when Tishani Doshi was a part of Students on Ice program, the Academic Shokalsky, the Russian research vessel. Journey to the End of the Earth, a travelogue by Tishani Doshi, is divided into 4 parts. Introduction, part of the history, human impact, and walk on the ocean. Journey to the End of the Earth. So from here, we are exactly going to start with the lesson. Introduction. Early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel, the Academic Shokalsky, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. So early this year, Tishani Doshi tells us that she found herself aboard means on board, a ship, Russian research vessel means a ship, the Academic Shokalsky, heading towards the coldest, driest and the windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. My journey began 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water and at least as many ecospheres. So she says her journey to Antarctica started from 13.09 degrees north of the equator. You can have a closer look at this picture. Equator is the imaginary line which divides the earth into two. So 13.09 degrees north of the equator means exactly at Chennai. Okay, so earlier it was known as Madras, now it is known as Chennai. So she says, her journey involved crossing 9 time zones. Different countries have different time zone. India has one time zone. So 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, 3 ocean seas, and at least as many ecospheres. By the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an aeroplane and a ship. So she says, my journey from Madras to Antarctica was a combination of 3 modes of transport. That is, by car, an aeroplane and a ship. So, my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief. So she says, my first emotion on facing the Antarctica's wild landscape was relief. Relief means safely reached. Followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. So this emotion of relief was followed up with profound wonder. Profound wonder means immense wonder. Why? Wonder at its immensity, how large it is, how vast it is, its isolation. Isolation means how far it is from the rest of the world, but mainly at how there could have ever been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. Now you also must be wondering, was it? Yes. Okay, so here Tishani Doshi is also wondering how there could have ever been a time when India and Antarctica were a part of the same landmass. Here is a picture showing you the expansive white landscape of Antarctica. Now in the next part of the lesson of her travelogue, she goes on to explain about the part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent, Gondwana, did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. Okay, so 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated, the meaning of the word amalgamated means come together to form one structure. So giant, a big amalgamated southern supercontinent, Gondwana, really existed, which was centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. I will show you a small video which will show you the breakup of Gondwana land. So 200 million years ago, Earth looked like this, a huge mass of land. The birth of Antarctica, how Antarctica was born. Later, 171 million years ago, it started breaking into different continents. You can see how South America, Africa, India and Asia moved away from Antarctica. Like how we have Indian stations at Antarctica, these are all Australian stations at Antarctica. Tishani Doshi next tells us that things were quite different then. Humans had not arrived on the global scene and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. When this Gondwana breakup took place, things were very different. Humans had not arrived on the scene. Humans were not existing. And the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of plants and animals. Flora and fauna means plants and animals. So for 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. So for 500 million years, Gondwana, the supercontinent which existed then, thrived. Thrived means flourished. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out, the age of the dinosaurs went, and the age of the mammals got underway, the beginning of the age of the mammals. The landmass, that is the Gondwana land, was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. How does this continental drift takes place? Or you may be having a question in your mind, how does this breakup takes place? So I'll explain to you using these pictures. You can see the first one, Pangaea. This was some 250 million years ago when the entire giant landmass on the earth was called as Pangaea. Okay? The next one, Pangaea later broke into two, Laurasia and Gondwana. So in the lesson, we are having a reference to this supercontinent, Gondwana. Now Laurasia included North America and Eurasia, and Gondwana included South America, Africa, India, Antarctica and Australia. So now you will understand why Tishani Doshi was wondering about India being a part of Antarctica. So later, 200 million years ago, this Gondwana land again broke into what we can see at present, the 7 continents of the world. Now, why does this continental drift takes place? Now you need to remember your geography, a bit of geography from your 9th standard about the plate tectonic theory. Okay? Now what is this plate tectonic theory? It says that our entire globe, our earth, is made up of 20 plates and they are forever moving. Out of these 20 plates, 7 are major and others minor. So they are forever moving. Okay? I will just give you a demo. Consider these are plates of the earth. Okay? They are forever moving. Sometimes they come towards each other or sometimes they go away from each other. So when they come towards each other, it results, when they collide to one another, it results in the formation of mountains. When they go away from each other, it results in the formation of the water body, sea or ocean. When they pass each other like this, it results in a geographical formation called as faults. Okay? Now, to visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. So to be a part of Antarctica, to be a part of Antarctic expedition is to get a grasp of that history, to understand where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. It is to understand the significance of Cordilleran folds and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon, evolution and extinction. This paragraph is very important because Tishani Doshi tells us that to visit Antarctica is to get a grasp of all these things, the history, the geological history of our planet, from where we are come and where we will be heading to understand the significance of Cordilleran folds. Now these Cordilleran folds are mountain ranges of this type, have a complex structure, usually the results of folding and faulting accompanied by volcanic activity. Precambrian granite shields are these rocks which belong to the geological period of Precambrian. These rocks are older than 570 million years and sometimes date back to 2 to 3.5 billion years. It is also to understand the ozone, the importance of the ozone layer. You must have learned this in your science classes as well. Ozone layer is the protective blanket around the earth which restricts or which stops the harmful ultraviolet radiations from entering the earth. Now why these ultraviolet radiations are very harmful? Because they can cause skin rashes, skin cancer and many ailments for humans as well as for the other living species, and it is also bad for the monuments as well. So to visit Antarctica is to understand the importance of ozone and carbon, the emission of carbon which is increasing day by day due to human activities. It is also to understand the evolution of different species and extinction of different species like the dinosaurs and the woolly mammoths. Now, when you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind-boggling. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. South America drifting off to join North America, opening up a Drake passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate and at the bottom of the world. Okay, so in this paragraph, Tishani Doshi explains to us that when you come across all these things related to our planet, it can get pretty mind-boggling, pretty confusing. When you think of all these things that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind-boggling. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. South America drifting off to North America, opening up the Drake passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica at the bottom of the world, frigid, desolate, without any human population, and at the bottom of the world. The Drake passage is the passage, the body of water between South America's Cape Horn here, Chile, and the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica. It connects the southwestern part of Atlantic, this part of Atlantic Ocean, to the part of Pacific Ocean and extends into Southern Ocean. This is considered as a very dangerous, waterways as far as our planet is concerned. The Drake Passage. What is Drake Passage in this picture clearly? South America went and joined North America, okay, opening up this Drake Passage. The formation of Himalayas, which is explained to us in the chapter, Himalayas are on India going and getting separated from Gondwana land and joining the Eurasian plate. So when it went and jammed against the Eurasian plate, it gave rise to young fold mountain, the pride of our country, the Himalayas. Okay? Here, what are cold circumpolar currents? Now these cold circumpolar currents which are around Antarctica, which flow in clockwise direction, are very, very important for the health of the entire planet, because they are also known as Antarctic Circumpolar Current, ACC. Now these Antarctic Circumpolar Currents are very, very useful because they help the Antarctic continent to remain frigid, to remain cold. And why it is important? If Antarctica becomes warm once again, you know what is the result going to be? The sea level, the water level of our planet is going to increase. For a sun-worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored is a chilling prospect, not just for the circulatory and metabolic functions, but also for the imagination. So here Tishani Doshi tells us that for a sun-worshipping South Indian like myself, in India, we all worship sun. So for a South Indian, sun-worshipping South Indian, being in a place where world's 90% of the ice is stored is a chilling prospect. Not just for circulatory and metabolic functions, it did not only affect her metabolic functions body, but it also affected her imagination. It's like walking into a giant ping pong ball devoid of any human markers. No trees, billboards, buildings. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty, midges and mites to blue whales and icebergs as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. So here she uses a beautiful simile. She compares the landscape of Antarctica to a giant ping pong ball. And why does she do that? She says walking onto the landscape of Antarctica was exactly like walking into a giant ping pong ball, because it did not have any human markers. It did not have any signs which showed that human displacement is there. There were no trees, no billboards, no buildings. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. You don't know what is the place, because all the places, everything looks the same. You cannot just look and predict what time it is. The visual scale, what you can see there, ranges from mighty to microscopic, from microscopic to mighty. Like the midges and mites. Midges and mites are, the insects which are found in Antarctica. To blue whales and icebergs, sometimes as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. Belgium, a European country. A picture of a giant iceberg at Antarctica. Later she goes on to explain that days go on and on and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light, and a ubiquitous silence interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or calving ice sheet consecrates the place. It is an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history, and for humans, the prognosis is not good. So she says days just go on and on in 24-hour surreal austral summer light. Okay? Basically to say that there is no night, there are only two seasons at Antarctica, the winter season and summer season. So during summer season, during which all these expeditions are taken, during summer season there is 24-hour austral summer light. Now austral means anything that is related to southern hemisphere. We know that we have two hemispheres, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So anything related to southern hemisphere is known as austral. So 24 hours there is austral summer light at Antarctica. Surreal, the meaning of the word is strange. It's very strange. And a ubiquitous silence. Ubiquitous silence means silence which is present everywhere, omnipresent. And this silence is interrupted only by occasional avalanche or calving ice sheets. So sometimes this silence is disturbed by occasional avalanche. Now avalanche is the sudden breaking of ice and moving down the slope. And calving ice sheet means breaking of ice from a big glacier or iceberg. Consecrates the place means makes this place holy, makes this place sacred. It is an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. So Tishani Doshi feels that to be in Antarctica is to immerse yourself in the geological history of our planet. And when you do that, you also realize that the prognosis for humans is not good. The forecast for human beings on this planet is not good. The signs for the existence of humans on this planet is not good. Here I am showing you a video of ice breaks, or you can say calving ice sheets at Antarctica. Moment massive slabs of ice break from a huge glacier or iceberg. And this is all the result of global warming. Tishani Doshi has explained to us about the human impact and how it is visible at Antarctica. Now you must be thinking, humans are not there in Antarctica, so how does human activities impact Antarctica, which is far away from the rest of the world? Human civilizations have been around for a paltry 12,000 years, barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus, etching our dominance over nature with our villages, towns, cities and mega cities. So in this paragraph, Tishani Doshi tells us that human beings have been on this earth for around just 12,000 years. Now if we take the age of the earth to be 24 hours, so human civilization on earth is there only for few seconds. But within those few seconds, we have been able to destroy nature drastically. Human civilization have been around for paltry 12,000 years, barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus. Ruckus means quite a commotion, quite a row, quite a disturbance. Etching our dominance over nature, we have been trying to prove our dominance over everyone with our villages, with our towns, with our cities and mega cities. The rapid increase of human population has left us battling with other species for limited resources. We are trying to prove that we are the sole owners of this planet, forgetting that we share this planet with other living beings as well. And the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world. The uncontrolled, unmitigated, clear, total burning of fossil fuels has increased in the level of carbon dioxide around the world. And we know what happens when carbon dioxide increases in the earth. When there is increase in carbon dioxide, the temperature of the earth increases, and that is called as global warming. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, Tishani Doshi tells us that climate change is one of the most hotly contested issues of our times. Not only in 2006, even in 2020, it is the hotly contested issue. There are many questions which are raised by this issue. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt? If it melts, what will happen? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe or maybe not. On the slide, you see two beautiful young girls. The first one, Greta Thunberg, you must have heard about her. If you have not, then you need to know about her because she is also a young climate activist from Sweden. She has become a leading voice in inspiring millions to fight climate change. She addressed UN climate conference which was held in 2019. And with her powerful words, she actually made the world leaders think of taking actions as fast as possible in regards to climate change. The next one is our very own Indian little girl, Lissipriya Kangujam from Manipur, who is the youngest climate activist. She also participated in UN's climate conference which was held in Spain last year, 2019. This is the reason why Geoff Green has given an opportunity for the students to go to Antarctica, because he knows and he believes that young blood has the capacity, has all the enthusiasm to change the world. Now when we speak about the climate change and issues related to it, why Antarctica is important, we are coming to that part of the lesson wherein Tishani Doshi explains to us why Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate of the climate change. Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect. It is very important for us to know that Antarctica is the only place in the world which has never sustained human beings. No human beings can live there for more than 2 to 3 weeks because the harsh conditions do not allow human beings to survive in Antarctica. Therefore, it remains relatively pristine. Pristine means pure, untouched in its original state. But more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores 500,000-year-old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. This is very, very important because Antarctica is the place to go to study past, present and future of our planet. Why? Because it holds in its ice cores 500,000-year-old carbon records which are trapped in the layers of ice, and that is why scientists make it a point to go to Antarctica to study about the rest of the earth, to study about our planet, because there are 500,000-year-old carbon records which are trapped in the layers of ice at Antarctica. Therefore, if we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present and future, Antarctica is the place to go. Past, because the Earth's geological history is trapped there. Present, because when you go to Antarctica, you come to know that the problem of global warming is real. And future, because when you see big ice shelves collapsing, or when you see calving ice sheets, avalanches, you also come to know that the future for human beings is not that good. Students on ice, here Tishani Doshi has explained about students on ice. Students on ice, the program I was working with on the Shokalski aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the end of the world and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. She has explained to us that Student on Ice program aims at this, taking high school students like you all, to the end of the earth, to the polar regions, to the Arctic and the Antarctic, so that they understand the severity of the problem, the severity of global warming. And when they come back, they are totally changed as far as their perspective of looking at the world is concerned, looking at the nature is concerned. It's been in operation for 6 years now. 6 years, she says 6 years, but if you take this year, it's been in operation for 20 years now, because it was started in the year 2000. And Tishani Doshi was a part of this program in the year 2006, headed by Canadian Geoff Green, who got tired of carting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who could give back in a limited way. So earlier, Geoff Green was taking only celebrities, retired rich people to the poles. Then he realized that he could not get back what he wanted from all these people. And that is why he decided to incorporate, to involve students into his expeditions. And he named that group or the organization as Students on Ice, because he wanted a positive feedback. More than positive feedback, he wanted something to be done by these children. With Students on Ice, he offers the future generation policy makers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. He has chosen students to be a part of this expedition for this last 20 years, he has been giving this opportunity to all the students from the world, because he knows that these young students are going to be president, prime ministers or scientists or climate activists one day, and this experience is going to surely help them in their work. The reason the program has been so successful is because it is impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. The reason why the Students on Ice program is so successful is because it is impossible to go to a place where you get to learn everything about the planet and not be affected by it. It's easy to be blasé about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zones of our respective latitude and longitude. But when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. Tishani Toshi tells us that it is very easy to be blasé. Blasé means unconcerned, indifferent towards something. About the polar ice caps melting, she says that it's very easy to be indifferent about the polar ice caps melting, sitting in our own comfort zones and of our respective latitude and longitude. Sitting in our homes, it is very easy to be indifferent to what is happening at Antarctica. But when you can visibly see, but when you go there to Antarctica and when you see it with your own eyes, glaciers retreating, glaciers withdrawing, and big ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is real. Antarctica, because of her simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. So Antarctica, because of a simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is a perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big effects, harmful effects. Repercussions means harmful effects. Take the microscopic phytoplanktons. She gives an example of the microscopic single-celled grass which floats on the surface of the ocean, Southern Ocean, known as the phytoplanktons. Those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. They sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. Any food chain of the Southern Ocean starts with this microscopic and very, very important phytoplanktons. These single-celled plants use the sun's energy. They use the sunlight, sun energy to assimilate, to mix carbon and synthesize, produce organic compounds in that wondrous and most important processes called the photosynthesis. You must have already learned in your junior classes what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is when green plants produce their own food using sunlight and water. Just have a look at this picture. You can see phytoplanktons. They are eaten by zooplanktons. Then fish larvae, small fish. This is consumed by small fish, and the small fish is then consumed by the larger fish. So any food chain starts with this very important single-celled microscopic grass known as phytoplanktons. Now, why these phytoplanktons are important, we have already seen. Scientists warn that a further depletion, a further destruction in the ozone layer, I have already told you, ozone layer is a protective blanket around the earth which restricts the UV rays, harmful ultraviolet rays from entering the earth, and these rays are very harmful for phytoplanktons as well. And scientists warn us that a further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of phytoplankton, which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and birds of the region. The phytoplanktons are destroyed, then zooplanktons will be affected. Fish, small fish will be affected. Larger fish will be affected, and the birds of that region will also be affected, which will affect the lives of marine animals, birds of the region, and the global carbon cycle. In the parable of the phytoplankton, parable is a small story with a powerful message. So in this story of phytoplankton, there is a great metaphor for existence. There is a great message which we need to take for life. And what is that message? Take care of the small things and the big things will fall into place. We need to take care of the smaller things in our life, and the bigger things, bigger problems will fall into their places. So Tishani Doshi tells us that we need to take this message from this small story of phytoplanktons. The last part of the lesson, the walk on the ocean. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. Now, you need to understand the meaning of this word epiphanies. Epiphanies means a startling experience or sudden realization. So, she says, my whole Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. One epiphany which she has explained is about the phytoplankton. She realized that when we take care of smaller things, big things will automatically fall into their places. The second epiphany she speaks about is the best one which occurred to her, she said, just before or just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. The Shokalski, that is the vessel, the ship, had managed to force herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and the Tadpole Island. Peninsula means any piece of land which is covered by water on its three sides, like how we have Indian Peninsula. Like that, the Antarctic Peninsula, and Tadpole Island is the island on Antarctica. So, academic Shokalski forced herself between this space of peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. So, the captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. So, the captain decided that they are going to turn and head northward. But so, before that, the captain instructed all the members on the ship, the students as well as the scientists and the other people who accompanied the students on the expedition, they were told to climb down the gangplank. Now, you are coming across a new word here, gangplank. Gangplank means the wooden board here, the wooden stand which is used to board the ship or leave the ship. This part of the ship is called as gangplank. So, there we were, all 52 of us. There were 52 people on the Russian research vessel Academic Shokalski. Kitted out in Gore-Tex and glares, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. So she says, there we were, all of us, all 52 of us, kitted out wearing Gore-Tex is a kind of material which keeps people warm, and when people visit Antarctica, they wear jackets, boots, gloves of Gore-Tex and goggles, walking on the stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. And we were having a walk on the ocean, or walking on a stark whiteness which spread out forever, which wherever your eyes could go, you could see only whiteness. Underneath our feet there was a meter thick ice pack. Underneath the feet there was meter thick ice pack, and underneath that 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. So on the 1 meter thick ice pack, they were actually walking on the ocean. Underneath there was the ocean. That's why it is titled as the walk on the ocean. This was another epiphany for Tishani Doshi. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. So in the periphery means on the outer edge, crab-eater seals. Now these are not crab-eater seals, these are another type of seals, Weddell seals basking on the ice in Antarctica. Crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes. Ice floes means a huge sheet of floating ice. Much like, she has compared this to the stray dogs which we see otherwise in our surroundings. Much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. So it was nothing short of a revelation. So she says, it was nothing short of a realization to me that everything does indeed connect. There is a connect to everything. Antarctica being so far and the rest of the world being apart from Antarctica, but everything is connected to one another. This is just a small animation to show you ice floes, okay, and how the animals at Antarctica enjoy their ride on the ice floes. Nine time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later. I was still wondering about the beauty of balance and play on our planet. So when she came back from her journey to Antarctica, she again crossed 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 large bodies of water, and many ecospheres. Later, she was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet, how everything is balanced on our planet. Antarctica is frigid there. It is very important for the rest of the world that Antarctica remains frigid. How the other places in the world and how everything is balanced nicely, perfectly on our planet. And we, the humans, if we disturb this balance of play in nature, then the results are going to be catastrophic. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? Will we be around to see it? If Antarctica becomes once again warm like how it used to be once upon a time, will we be around to see it? Or would we have gone the way the dinosaurs, mammoths and woolly rhinos? Who is to say? Or will we be also extinct like all these extinct animals? They are not to be found anymore on this planet. Dinosaurs, mammoths and woolly rhinos. Who is to say? But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in 1,000,000 years. But what a difference a day makes. So here she says, lot can happen in 1,000,000 years. And after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers, group of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, like Greta Thunberg, like Lysipriya, they still have the enthusiasm to save our planet. All I can say is that a lot can happen in 1,000,000 years. Lot changes can take place in 1,000,000 years. But even a single day can make a difference. Even a single try by an individual can make a difference. We may be saying that Antarctica will take millions and millions of years to become warm once again. Why we should bother? But no, if you sit at home and try to save or try to do something which will save the planet, it will make a difference. And that is what here Tishani Doshi also says. A lot can happen in million years, but what a difference a day makes. Dear students, I have come across this beautiful movie by Rakesh Rao. The name of the movie is Climate Challenge. The last slide is about the words, new words we have come across in the entire travelogue written by Tishani Doshi, and the meanings. So whenever you are going to read your text, you refer this words and the meanings of the words. Now, when it comes to your exams, you will be asked questions of 4 marks from your supplementary, that is Vista's textbooks. Now from this chapter, you may be asked questions like, in spite of Geoff Green's enthusiasm and optimism about the Students on Ice program, global warming continues to be a threat. In spite of Geoff Green taking students to polar regions to educate them, to make them understand the changes that are taking place, global warming is still a threat. Command with reference to journey to the end of the earth. So when you read the text, when you see, understand, and you have your own ideas, then you are supposed to write it for 4 marks. Okay, what are the reasons which what are the reasons why global warming is still a problem? The next question is, the study of Antarctic region can help us to change our vision of life. Suggest ways in which we can preserve planet Earth. In this, you can write small or big, whatever ways which come into your mind, which you think will help to protect our planet or help us to change the vision of life. The next question is, if you had gone to Antarctica as a student, what would be your plan of action in return? If you were the part of Students on Ice, now by now you know what is Students on Ice program, you know the founder, you know what is done when they go there for the expeditions. From this travelogue, you come to know everything. So if you were a part of Students on Ice program, on your return, what would be your plan of action? Okay, what would you do? How would you make people aware of the situation? How would you make people understand the threat of global warming? So these you need to write for 4 marks as far as your exams are concerned. So with that, I come to an end with my session. Thank you very much.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.